welcome to Maylands new geography series, A Big Adventure, where every time we're going to explore, learn and have some fun. Look out for the challenges along the way for things that you can join in with at home. Last year in September, I left to go on my own big adventure. Before I left, I asked everybody, if you could go anywhere, where would you go and why? That's a question I'd like you to keep in your head whilst you watch our whole series, because perhaps at the end of it you'll have some ideas of adventures that you would like to go on one day too. It's time to find out what our first destination is going to be. Are you ready? This week we are going to Bolivia. Bolivia is in the continent of South America. Can you spot on our world map where South America is? Do you know where we are? Well done. We are in the United Kingdom, a very small country that on this world map is in the centre at the top. And we're going all the way to South America, which is over here. Well done if you knew that already. Bolivia is a country in South America that has got two capital cities. We'll come back to that later. And do you know what Bolivia's flag looks like? I'll show you. It's got three colours, red, yellow and green. Do you know any other flags with those colours?
Well done if you knew that these countries also have the colours red, yellow and green in their flags: Lithuania, Ghana, the Republic of Congo and Cameroon.
Bolivia is the first country that I went to on my travels, so when I arrived everything looked, sounded and felt a little bit different. It sounded a bit different because everybody in Bolivia was using a different language. We're going to listen to a bit of their national anthem and see if you might be able to identify what language you think is primarily spoken in Bolivia.
Bolivianos el lado propicio coronó nuestros votos y anhelo.
Did you get it? Did you recognise the language that they were singing in? I'm going to give you a couple more clues. These are some of the things I heard when I first arrived in Bolivia. Hola, buenos dias. What language do you think is the language that's mostly spoken in Bolivia? Do you recognise any of these words? Well done if you knew it was Spanish, which in Spanish is Español. Very good. Okay, it's time for your first challenge. We're going to play a game. One moment please, I need my box of tricks. There we go, perfect. Okay, in my box I've got lots of different objects that are lots of different colours. I'd like to see if you can remember the Spanish words for some of these colours, because I know that you've been doing that with Mr. Sarkis and some of the other teachers at Maylands. Okay, let's see. First of all, I wonder if you know the colour of this object in Spanish. Well done if you got it. Orange in Spanish is naranja. Very good. Okay, let's try another one. I wonder if you know the colour of this object in Spanish. Very good if you remembered. Green in Spanish is verde. Well done. What's next? I wonder if you know the colour of this object in Spanish. I'm talking about the main colour at the top here. Well done. Red in Spanish is rojo. Very good. Okay, let's do one more. I'm quite intrigued by this object. Do you know the colour of this object in Spanish? Very good. In Spanish, yellow is amarillo. Brilliant. Perhaps you can play this game at home and find some more objects, because we didn't get through all of them today, but I'm sure you could play it later.
Or you could watch Mr. Caro's rainbow video and practice your colours in Spanish there.
This is a 2D map of our planet, but we know that Earth is not really 2D, is it? Let's see. Earth! That's better. We know the Earth is 3D and much bigger than this usually. You can't hold it like this. But if we have a look, we can find the United Kingdom here. And we're going to be crossing all the way over the Atlantic Ocean to South America to visit Bolivia. Okay, thank you, Earth. I think we can do better than that. We're going to go into the map with Google Maps. Ready? Here goes. Wow, here we are inside Google Maps. You can see the whole of planet Earth right now. Can you remember which country we live in? That's right, we're in the United Kingdom. We live quite close to London. Okay, we're going to zoom back out. Can you remember which continent we're looking at today? Well done if you remembered that it's South America, which is just underneath North America. Okay, this is one way of looking at the Earth on Google Maps. This is a map, but we could also look at it with a satellite image. We'll be able to see a photograph of the Earth taken from space. You can see blue for the oceans and seas, and you can see green forests, and you can see the deserts and the mountains as well, and the colours they are. Okay, we're going to get a little bit closer to the continent we're looking at today, which is South America. When I'm close enough, I can press Explore, which is sort of over here. When you press that, it will come up with some ideas for you of places that you could explore in South America. For example, you can see House of Chocolate, Iguazu Falls, and lots of other exciting places at the bottom. If I wanted to, I could click on one of those and it would show me where on the map that place is and let me see photographs that the people have taken when they visited. Okay, we're going to close that. Today, can you remember which country we're looking at? Well done if you remembered that it's Bolivia. If I click on Bolivia, a box will pop up giving me lots of information. It will have some photos that again people have taken when they were there. I can look for directions, or I can just read some facts. Let's switch back to the map view. When we look at a map of Bolivia, you might notice some things about it. You might notice what countries it's next to, or you might see some of the names of the cities and other places in Bolivia. I have a question for you. If you lived in Bolivia, would you be able to go to the beach for the day in your own country? Well done if you've noticed that Bolivia is landlocked. That means all around its borders it has other countries. So to go to the beach you would have to travel into a neighbouring country. Okay, we're going to leave the map now. Ready? Let's go. Ah, we're back. Living with a Bolivian family. That's what I did. Here are some photos of my time in Sucre. Firstly, Samantha the dog. She was in the house I lived in. And so was Ellie. There I am with Ellie. She cooked all of our meals for us and she was the housekeeper for the family that we stayed with. I also went to a beautiful Spanish school because when I arrived I only really knew the colours and numbers and I needed to know a little bit more than that to spend as much time as I did in South America. So we went to Sucre Spanish School. We had this beautiful courtyard in the middle which most buildings in Bolivia have. And every day I had to go at 8 o'clock and meet my teacher and I had to sit with my workbook and my pencil case and practice all of my Spanish vocabulary. This is the courtyard in the house I was staying in. So just like my Spanish school had a gap in the middle, a courtyard, so did the house where I was staying. And in the buildings all around the courtyard, 4 different parts of the family lived. And at the front they owned a restaurant, so every day the ladies who lived there used to peel all the potatoes to make the chips and I'd see them doing that from my bedroom window. I tried lots of Bolivian food whilst I was in Sucre. This is called papa rellena. It's a bit like a potato croquette, but inside there's egg and there's melted cheese and you can have meat in there as well. And it came with a little salad. And at every meal that I had whilst I was in Bolivia, they always start with a bowl of soup. They have a bowl of soup and then they have their main course at lunch and at dinner, but not at breakfast time. It's time for your next challenge. Perhaps you could find a recipe for a vegetable soup that you could make at home. In Bolivia, the one we had every day at lunchtime would have potatoes, carrots and pasta in it. Perhaps you can make one of these things too. The first place I lived in Bolivia was Sucre. Sucre in Spanish means sweet or sugar. My turn. Sucre. Well done. It is the constitutional capital of Bolivia. Remember earlier I said there are two capital cities in Bolivia? This is the first one, the oldest one. This was the capital city originally when the country was founded. Since then, the capital city has changed to La Paz, but the people who live here believe that Sucre is still the true capital. I wonder if you notice anything about all the buildings in Sucre. That's right, they're all white. That's because there's a law that says that if you build something new in Sucre, or you have an existing building, you must paint all the outside walls white. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of how beautiful it is. Next, we're going to visit the second capital city of Bolivia, the one that's considered the capital city today by most people. It's La Paz, the political capital. It's where the president lives. And these are some photographs of La Paz and some of the things it's so famous for, which you're going to see in a moment in a video. La Paz is very famous for its street art and colourful buildings, and also for the wrestling that the ladies do. The ladies are called cholitas, and they do cholita wrestling. It's a very famous sport in La Paz. I've also put a photograph of some of the buses in, because they look a little bit different to the ones that we have here. They're a different colour and a different shape. Let's go to La Paz. Oh, brilliant! Here we are in La Paz, which, as you can see, is really big. It's not only a big city, it's very high up too. The altitude in La Paz is just over 3,500 metres. To give you some context, the biggest mountain in the UK, Ben Nevis, is just over 1,300 metres, so it's nearly 3 times as much as that. That means that if you go running in La Paz, you would get right out of breath quite quickly and a little bit dizzy too, but the people who live there are very used to that. La Paz is extremely busy because it's the capital city, so lots of people live there and lots of people work there too.
This is the
Cable car system in La Paz. It's the highest cable car system in the whole world. Some of it reaches 4,000 metres, and it's a way of the people who living on the outside of La Paz get to the centre to go to work or to school or to do social activities. It's the largest cable car system in the world, and it took them 2 years to build it. They had to get a company from Austria to come and build their cable car system because they'd never had one before, and they needed the expertise of the Austrian engineers. Some people who live there, the indigenous people of Bolivia, wear certain clothes. They wear bowler hats and they wear colourful fabrics and long skirts. La Paz is very famous for its art, for street food, for wrestling, and for the performances and dancing that you can see in the evenings. Next, we're going to go to a town called Uyuni and see the Salar de Uyuni, which are next to the town. Okay, let's go into the map. Brilliant! Here we are, back on our map. Okay, let's zoom in on Uyuni. Here it is, right in the middle. We're going to go on satellite view again and have a look. That's interesting. What do you think that could be? Good idea, but it's not snow and it's not ice. Have a think what else it could be. Do you know what? I think we need to get closer. We're going to pick up our Google Street View man and drop him in it. We have to grab him from over here, drag him across, and there we are. Wow, look at that. We're on Cactus Island, a small mound that's covered in cactuses in the middle of this. Do you know what it is yet? It's a salt desert. Very good. We're going back up. Whoop. There we go. Let's drop him one more time. We're going to grab him again. We could drop him. There we go. Wow, it's beautiful. It looks like a big snowy field, but it's actually salt. So it's really rough and hard, a little bit like rocks. And if you walk on it, it sounds crunchy, like autumn leaves. Okay, we're going back up again. Here we go. Okay, let's drop the Google Earth man one more time. If you hover where you'd like to drop him, it shows you a little picture of what it might look like, a preview. Let's drop him here. Oh, wow. You can see really close to the floor here. You can see the crunchy salt on the floor. It doesn't look fluffy like sand. It looks like it would hurt if you sat down on it. Okay, we're going back up. Perfect. It's time to get back to the classroom. See you there.
But what are the salt flats and how did they get there? Well, thousands of years ago there would have been a huge saltwater lake here in Bolivia. But over time the lake has dried up, which means the water has evaporated, leaving only the salt behind. This is not the only salt flat in the world, but it is the largest. It's over 4,000 miles long. So large, in fact, that it's almost the same size as the country of Jamaica. It's also very high up, at an altitude of over 3,500 metres, which is even higher than La Paz, the highest city in the world. The salt flats can be seen from space because they're so flat and so white, and that's why they appear on the satellite image on Google Earth. During the wet season, when it rains lots, the salt flats turn into what is effectively a gigantic puddle. Because it is so flat here, the water creates a perfect reflective surface. Some people say it is the world's largest mirror. Do you remember when we visited the island of Cacti on Google Earth just a moment ago? Well, the name of this island is Isla Inca Huasi. Isla means island, Inca is the name of the people who once lived here, and Huasi is an ancient Quechua word for house. Do you remember that the salt flats used to be a giant saltwater lake? Well, when it was a lake, this island would have been the top of an ancient volcano which was partly submerged. Now it is home to giant cacti, animals like the llamas you saw a moment ago, and unusual and very fragile coral-like structures and deposits that have fossils and algae living in them. The Salar de Uyuni is made up of over 10 billion tonnes of salt. The locals who live here in Bolivia use the salt to make lots of different things, from art and sculptures to whole hotels where the floor, the walls, and even the furniture has been made from salt. The people who work with the salt are called saleros, or salt miners. They chop, saw, and stack the bricks of salt to be sold and used as building materials.
Wow, that was amazing. Perhaps you could do some more exploring using Google Earth. Here are some photographs I took when I was in the Salar de Uyuni, or the salt flats. Some of the salt flats gets to very high elevation, just like in La Paz. There are flamingos living in the red lakes and lots more beautiful scenery. You can see here the shape that the salt has been making. It has 6 sides. Perhaps you know the name of that shape, and perhaps you can think of an animal that makes that shape. That's right, bees also make hexagonal shapes in their hives. It's time for your final challenge. At the moment, people aren't able to travel, but soon everyone will be excited to go on adventures again. So perhaps you could imagine that you're a travel agent and write an advert for Bolivia, telling people why they might like to go there, what they might be able to see or do. Have a think. Okay, I'll see you very soon.